All right, so what's the deal, Lou? Was it that your wife Tammy talked you into this? Is that how it worked?
Well, kind of, sort of. She kind of sneaked around behind my back to let you know that.
Yes,
because you had spoken to Mark Cloutier when Karina Colson was here talking about Honor Flight New England.
Oh yes, did you see that podcast?
I didn't, but he had mentioned to me that you wanted to discuss the riders.
Yes. Oh my God, that was so long ago, man.
Yeah. Well, he said you'd be getting in touch with me.
Oh.
So.
Famous last words, right?
Exactly. So I mentioned it. I mentioned it to Tammy.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, it's like, oh, JD's going to be contacting you.
Well, your wife, Tammy, she doesn't fool around, man.
No, she doesn't.
She got right on me. She's like, you ought to have the and here's the whole thing is that I surprisingly I forget stuff all the time, my man.
I know that feeling.
I do. So I'm glad that Tammy, did not let this slip through the cracks. American Legion Riders, tell me about you. Tell me about Hardwick, Post 7. Tell me about what is the American Legion Riders. And you are, hold on, let me get my official title here. You are the state director of the American Legion Riders. Am I right?
You are correct.
There we go.
So,
Gateway Riders of the American Legion, Post 7 in Hardwick.
That's my chapter's name, yes.
Yeah.
That we started, oh, good Lord. It's been, I think, 2015 we started it at my post.
Yep.
I've been a member, actually, of the Riders prior to that. When I started with the Lyndonville Riders. They were getting a chapter started.
Yep.
And they were the closest post to me at that time that was going to have a Riders chapter.
Yep.
So we got together and we started up a chapter in Lyndonville.
Yeah.
I was there for a few years, and we decided then that Hardwick would like a chapter.
And you were already living in Hardwick.
And I was already living in Hardwick. So, I was going from Hardwick to Lyndonville for the Riders meetings and stuff.
Okay.
And Post decided that they'd like a chapter, so we fired one up. And
that's amazing.
It's just been a wild ride ever since.
How many members do you have?
In Hardwick?
In Hardwick.
Actually, we just signed up 4 new ones, so we're up around 17 members now.
All right, wow.
Most of the chapters are on the smallish side. There are some that have had as many as 50 members.
Incredible. On Facebook, Gateway Riders Post 7. And I'm just seeing on your Facebook page right now, let's see. In remembrance to those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, and in celebration of the brave service, please join your Hardwick American Legion family for this weekend of events, Saturday, this coming Saturday, 28th, in joining Hardwick's Spring Festival Parade, which is coming back after 3 years.
Thank you, COVID.
Wow.
So, and that's
fantastic that this is coming back, man.
It is. And we've actually, I don't know that we missed a year during COVID, but prior to the parade, the Post 7 in Hardwick has a ceremony at our Veterans Monument.
Okay.
A little speech by the post commander and a wreath-laying ceremony in honor of veterans who never made it home.
Yep.
Which is the purpose of Memorial Day.
Yep.
It's not Veterans Day. It's not the day to thank every veteran.
That's right.
It's a day to remember.
That's right. So there'll be a shorter service in remembrance of those lives lost, brave lives.
Yeah, it's generally 20 to 30 minutes, and like I said, our post commander will do a little speech, and we'll have the wreath laying ceremony and taps, and then we'll basically stay right there at the monument because that's Hazen Union High School, where the parade starts, is 100 yards up the road.
Sure.
So when we hear the parade move out from the Hazen Union Park, I'm waving like you can see what I'm doing. When we when we hear the parade leaving the high school, we form up because the post honor guard leads the parade. So we just form up right there on the road, and when the parade comes down to the monument, we step out in front of the parade.
Yeah. Then what? Then what happens?
We'll march the parade route.
Yep.
And circle right on back to the post, because the parade actually passes right in front of the post at the beginning of the parade route. Usually by the time we get back to the post, the parade is still passing the post. So it's quite a long parade for a little town like Hardwick.
And Wilfred McAllister, your commander.
Post commander.
He'll be riding in the parade.
More than likely, yeah. He'll either be on our little wagon that we have, or one of the guys has an old classic car that he has legioned up a little bit, so Willie might be riding with him. So
don't stay out too late Friday night. You're getting crazy, because we ask you to be there by 9:30 to kind of find your place, get ready on Saturday morning.
Pretty much, yeah. But I mean, the parade starts, I believe, at 10. So we'll, by all means, if you can make it out, come up to the Veterans Memorial.
Yeah, please.
And join us for our memorial service prior to the parade.
What's happening back at Post 7? Connie's Kitchen is going to be serving some.
Well, that's there basically to let people who are going to be marching in the parade know that when they come to the post to get ready to march in the parade, to gather up the flags and what have you, we'll have coffee and donuts there for them for refreshments prior to the parade.
That's nice. So, what do you guys do together as an organization? Well, tell me a little bit about what you do. Not only rides that you do together, but what you do off the motorcycles.
The rides, we'll do a lot of different rides for different causes.
Yeah.
We'll fundraise for the Legacy Scholarship Fund, which is an American Legion program that provides scholarships to the children of our fallen heroes. Basically, since 9/11, any troop, soldier, sailor, airman who has died on active duty, through that sacrifice has made their child eligible for this college scholarship. Automatically.
Yeah.
And that is a pet project of a lot of riders chapters. And they'll donate individually as a chapter to the scholarship fund. And there's also every year, every year at National Convention time, which is generally third week or so of August, there's a huge ride from a city that they pick somewhere near where the convention site's going to be. This year it's in Milwaukee. So they're doing a 1,200-mile ride, collecting donations along the way.
1,200 miles?
Yep. And the past, I want to say at least 6 or 7 years, they have raised over $1 million a year for the Legacy Scholarship Fund in order to continue providing these scholarships.
Oh, man. And I'm just reading here, this Legacy Ride is going to start at the USS Alabama Memorial Park in Mobile, Alabama, August 21, and travel through Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, and Illinois before finishing up at at the American Legion Post 434 in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. That's a 20-minute drive from Milwaukee, where the national convention is going to be. This is incredible. We're going to post up information on how folks can learn more about this and get registered for this. But, man, that's amazing.
Yeah, they do an awesome job.
Unbelievable. So is that a bucket list item for you, Lou?
It is.
Yeah.
I think my bucket's getting a little shallow at this point, but yeah, it's something I would like to do sometime when I'm still alive.
Well, I just got a little note here that you're celebrating a birthday on Saturday. So.
Yep.
There you go, Tammy.
Thank you.
Yep. Gotcha. How old is
Isn't it wonderful having the wife along for this?
Of course it is. How old is Lou Furry going to be on Saturday?
67.
There you go.
So.
67.
And at least still upright and being able to ride.
Yes. Now, what's happening this summer in July for old Lou Furry?
July is going to be the demise of my riding season because I will be having rotator cuff surgery, and that's going to put me off the bike for a few months.
We can't put it off till October, Lou.
Yeah, you take it when you can get it. And besides, that would cut into my hunting season, too. You have to have something to do in the off season from riding, so
yes,
I choose hunting.
Gosh,
Plus, it's going to kill my deep sea fishing.
Yeah, wow. Oh, that's right. I saw on your Facebook page you run down in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
in
out of Hampton Beach.
Hampton Beach. Yeah. We need our shoulders, though, Lou.
Yes, we do.
So you fix it up good, and then you'll be deep sea fishing and motorcycling and everything.
Hopefully for years to come.
Rotators, that's a funky operation because you really have to be committed to doing what the doc tells you for physical therapy, and don't screw around and start you just start to feel good, and then you're lifting the gallon of milk and you're doing the things you shouldn't be doing, and zip, you've torn it again.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, the doctor has made it quite clear that I need to follow his instructions for PT and all that stuff because he doesn't want to see me back with a re-injury.
Are you a stubborn old fella?
I can be.
You can be. Yeah. This is no time to fool around, man. Because
you should see the incredulous look on my wife's face.
I'm sure. But do you have any ape hangers?
My bike has the mini apes. They call it. They're 14-inch apes.
Well, that's not too bad. But again, it can be on the shoulder. You got to go easy there.
I actually find, and a lot of people can't understand this, but I find them more comfortable than the stock handlebars, the lower bars.
Right.
I like having my hands right about just below my shoulder height when I'm riding.
What do you have for a bike?
It's a Kawasaki Vulcan 900.
Oh.
Little bagger type.
Nice. I got 900 too.
Do you?
Oh, I love it. I love Triumphs. That's my bike.
Yeah, the Triumphs are good. I actually traded in my Sportster on this Kawasaki Vulcan.
Really?
It rides so much smoother.
Does it?
Yeah, it's really nice. Plus, I'm getting 50-plus miles to the gallon.
Yeah, right. Of course. Of course. So to get involved with the American Legion Riders, what do you have to do? What do you have to do? I mean, obviously, I see here that you've got to hold a membership and be in good standing with the American Legion to begin with, or the auxiliary, or the Sons of the American Legion.
Correct.
So that's the first step.
Correct. The first step, obviously, is to have a motorcycle.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Yes.
But yes,
and know how to ride one.
That would help.
Yes, that would help a little bit.
And then, of course, you do need to be a member of the American Legion family, be it the Legion, the Auxiliary, or the Sons. And you've got to keep your bike properly registered and insured.
Sure.
So
just get in touch with the department headquarters and say, I'd like to meet the boss.
Well, you could do that, or ask them, if there's a chapter near you that you can sign up for, or if you're a Legion member, Legion member or not, just anybody has access to the website legion.org.
Yes.
And I don't know if they have the actual chapters listed, but there's contact information on there to contact the American Legion Riders.
Yeah.
And I've had several people contact me and say, here's where I live. Is there a chapter near me?
Right.
And I can get back to them and say, yep, I've got chapters here, here, and here. So right now there are about 12 chapters scattered around the state.
No kidding.
So, and it's in the time that I've been doing this, we've had chapters rise and we've had chapters fall.
Yeah.
It's sort of a very dynamic thing right now.
Right.
In the grand scheme of things, the riders as a program of the Department of Vermont are relatively young. We've only been a program of the department for about 10 years now.
Okay.
So, strangely enough, we're still experiencing some growing pains.
Yes.
More or less, and we're feeling our way through it.
Sure. Of course. What about here in Barrie? What about...
Post 10 in Barrie
Yes.
has a chapter. Post 7 in Hardwick, of course, has a chapter. Here we go. So Montpelier had a chapter, but unfortunately it's kind of fallen. And the next... Yeah, right now in central Vermont, pretty much it's Barrie
And Hardwick. Okay.
We have chapters. We have St. Albans. We've got Colchester.
Yeah.
And all the way south to Bennington, up into the Northeast Kingdom and North Troy. And
do you guys ever meet up for a big ride? Bring all these...
We try. We have department-wide 2 meetings a year.
Mm-hmm.
One we call our summer rally, which we usually try to hold at some point in July.
Mm-hmm.
And that's for all the chapters to get together, do some writing, some socializing.
Mm-hmm.
And our winter meeting, which we usually try to hold in late February, is our biggest business meeting of the year, and that's where we will elect our officers and
Yeah.
conduct any other business that needs to be.
Yeah. Where do you do
discussed.
that? Right up at Post 7?
Sometimes
Yeah.
we like to have as many chapters as possible get involved, but there's some work involved in hosting a meeting, and Post 7 has tended to do it these past several years. The summer meeting this year is going to be actually at Lyndonville, and it's going to be in conjunction with a ride that they're doing.
Good.
And then after the ride, we'll have our meeting and a barbecue and some social time.
Yeah. I see that flag on your vest, and I see the patch that says you're a proud supporter of the Veterans Place in Northfield.
Yes.
Talk to me. Tell me about that.
We've raised funds to donate to them. We've gone down there a couple times and put on barbecues for the residents. We'll go out and buy a bunch of hamburgers and hot dogs and rolls and chips and
Awesome.
drinks, and we'll go down there, and they've got the grills there, so we don't have to drag one along with us.
Yes.
Tough to do on a bike,
Of course.
but we'll throw a bunch of food together and go down and cook up a barbecue for them. And they really seem to enjoy it.
I'm sure.
They're happy to have visitors there.
Are you a veteran yourself?
I am.
Talk to me.
Air Force,
Yep.
Vietnam era. Not a Vietnam vet, but a Vietnam era vet.
Yep.
I always try to be clear about that distinction.
Yep.
So
What'd you do?
I was a printer
Yeah.
in the Air Force. When I was in high school, I took vocational technical
Yeah.
course instead of college prep because I knew there was no way I was going to make college. weren't exactly well-to-do or anything.
You'd still have a bill for that. Still be paying that off.
Exactly.
Right.
So I took a vocational course, and it was called graphic arts, which was basically a print shop,
Yeah.
and loved it. Loved having ink on my hands. So when I joined the Air Force, I said, that's what I want to be. I want to be a printer.
Good for you. Where were you? Where did you do all that?
South Dakota,
Wow.
Ellsworth Air Force Base, which I believe is no more, in the Strategic Air Command, which is no more.
Yeah.
So it seems like all the stuff from the 70s just went away.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
And then, after I got out, I never even really knew anything about the American Legion at all. And then I started at some point noticing posts, and it's like, I wonder what that's all about. But and I moved to Vermont in '97, and I had two people that I knew that I had met in Vermont started working on me to join the Legion.
Yeah.
So about 21 years ago, I joined.
That's awesome.
And like I said before, it's been a bit of a wild ride.
Yeah.
They made sure to get me involved, which is a good thing, really. It's what any organization should do with new members.
Sure.
Get them involved. Don't just
Yeah.
sign them up and ignore them.
Right.
You're going to lose them that way.
I think and we've had this conversation, and I've had this conversation with Karina Colson as well, that a lot of work needs to be done to keep these so many different civic organizations alive and thriving and growing. And it's not just the American Legion. I mean, Mel McKnight's been on here several times and talked about this. Ron Tallman, Chuck Barney, Barry Area Veterans Council, VFW. We need to keep the edge sharp. We need to be working the social media. We need to be finding younger veterans who are traveling through life a little differently than maybe Vietnam veterans. It's a different world, but and it's become very much a private world. But we need to get these men and women out of their homes. We need to bring them into the Legion home and welcome them.
Exactly.
Share some good food, some great laughter, camaraderie, maybe our motorcycles.
Shoulder to cry on if needed.
If needed.
And
General sense of understanding.
exactly. And I mean, nobody understands like someone who's been there.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of strange. I mean, there was a long time after I got out when I didn't want to hear anything to do with anything related to the military.
Yeah.
And that included the Legion, VFW, stuff like that.
Sure.
Plus, younger people, especially today, I feel kind of sorry for them having to try to make a living in this economy, raise a family, feed kids, pay the rent. They don't necessarily have the time to put into doing projects and stuff, but that doesn't mean that they still shouldn't join.
Yeah.
Because even if you just need somebody to talk to,
Yeah.
they're there.
That's right.
There are people who've shared your experiences, willing to listen,
Yeah.
non-judgmental.
That's right.
But as people mature, if you will, and just grow their lives a little bit and get the kids taken care of and maybe get them off to college or what have you, and some of the bad taste goes away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you start looking for, all right, what can I do? I need to do something to,
Sure.
and then I joined the Legion. We talked, my wife and I talked about it. We wanted a place to go shoot a couple of games of pool once in a while.
Right. Of course.
So I said, well, I'm eligible for the Legion, and these guys have been after me.
Yeah.
But if I join, I'm not just going to be a paper member. I'm going to attend meetings and
Really
stuff
engage.
like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't planning on things working out quite the way they did, but that was the plan.
And now you're the state director of the American Legion Riders.
Among
Wow.
other things, yeah. I actually wear several different hats in the Legion at this point.
What are the others?
The 2nd District Commander for the American Legion, which is responsible for about 13 Legion posts in the 2nd District.
Wow.
I was just elected the 2nd Vice Commander at the post at our elections in May. From 2005 to 2016, for 10 consecutive years, I was post commander at Hardwick. I've been the adjutant. I've been senior vice. I've been the service officer.
Wow.
So I'm the director of my chapter as well as the director of the department.
Yeah.
Legion Riders. I served as the treasurer for a few years for my chapter. Sometimes when you get involved, you really get involved.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Motorcyclists, and there's all kinds of different motorcyclists.
Absolutely.
All kinds of different motorcyclists. But some of them can get a little bit of a bad rap. Motorcycle
Yes.
gang, motorcycle club. We got the leather. We got the patches. We got the loud bikes coming through, intimidation factor, all that. Stigma.
I work hard, we work hard to make it clear to folks that we are not an MC. We are not a motorcycle club.
You're Legionnaires.
We're Legionnaires. We have a responsibility to not do anything to bring any dishonor to the American Legion. So every once in a while, I will have riders that I'm talking to who refer to their back patch as colors. And I make it a point to remind them that we do not wear colors. We wear a back patch. Simple back patch.
Yeah.
Some of the guys will attach rockers to their vests, which is fine as long as it's not touching the back patch. That state their branch of service or, just that they're a veteran. But you won't see an MC patch on our vests because we are not an MC. So, and there are reasons for that. Like you said, MCs can be a little territorial sometimes.
Sometimes.
They want to protect their territory, and I can absolutely understand that.
Yeah.
And the last thing we want to do is get crosswise
Yeah.
of those clubs. So we make it clear to them we are not trying to step on their turf. We are just riders using our motorcycles and our love of riding to support American Legion programs.
That's right.
Nothing more. So,
Wow. Well said.
we are not an MC,
Yeah.
and we're not looking to be an MC. We just want to ride and support our posts and our department and our national organization.
What's obviously, and if you're just joining us, this is Lou Furry, who's the state director of the American Legion Riders, Gateway Riders of the American Legion Post 7 out of Hardwick. On Facebook at Gateway Riders Post 7. This coming Saturday, in remembrance of those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, we ask you to be part of what's going on in Hardwick this weekend, Saturday. The Spring Festival Parade coming back after 3 years. what else do you guys have going on the horizon here? Any kind of fundraisers, organizations that you're going to be supporting or trying to help benefit?
Well, like I said, the big thing is the Legacy Scholarship Fund.
Yeah.
On the 23rd, God, I wish I had the information with me because my memory is shot because I'm old. The Lyndonville Riders are doing a ride.
Yep.
And they're supporting.
I'm looking here
I don't
too.
remember the name of the. It's a veterans home basically that they're supporting.
Okay.
And we'll be having our summer rally after that ride. And different chapters just they do so many different things that
But a lot of supporting veterans and our youth.
Veterans, youth, their communities, yes.
Yeah, this is great. Legion.org/riders
Yep.
To learn more. This is great stuff, Lou.
And we welcome any eligible rider. You don't have to have a particular brand or type of motorcycle. You know, it can be a bagger, it can be a sport bike, it can be a cruiser, whatever. Best if it's 350 cc's or above.
Hello.
You know, because some of our rides hit interstates, and
Yes.
you need to be able to keep up on an interstate ride.
Right.
So
What's it cost?
that varies, believe it or not, from chapter to chapter. There is
Okay.
no set fee. Just like Legion dues vary from post to post.
Of course.
You know, I've seen them $50, and my own post is $40.
Okay.
For the Gateway Riders, because of the cost of the back patches and what have you, our due schedule is set up at $50 for the first year for initiation dues,
Yeah.
we call it,
Yeah.
and then it's $20 a year for maintenance dues.
Okay.
And that's on top of what your $40 or whatever the dues might be for the auxiliary or sons.
You guys have any like dinners or gatherings?
My chapter's actually gotten back into doing a monthly breakfast at the post.
Awesome.
You know, $7 for a breakfast buffet of, you know, scrambled eggs, sausage, bacon, toast.
You'd lose money
pancakes.
with me, bro.
No doubt.
Isn't that true, Rayleigh? Yeah.
They'd lose money on me if I wasn't working the event.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So, and you know, they'll put on breakfasts or dinners or what have you, and I think it helps also to bring the American Legion family together.
Yep.
Because under normal circumstances, you know, the Legion will meet on this night of the month in this location. The auxiliary will meet maybe the same night but in a different location. The Sons meet the same night but in a different location. Where as riders, we've got everybody in one spot.
Yep.
You know, and everybody can sort of be a liaison back to their organization.
Yes. Right.
And let them know what's going on, and you know, ask what can we do to help.
Sure.
You know, so I've been a strong supporter of the idea of Legion family. There for too long, you know, it was the Legionnaires and the auxiliary over here and the Sons over there. And
Yeah.
It's like, let's bring everybody together, work together. We can accomplish a whole lot more when we're all working together.
So true.
Instead of going our own little separate ways. And I like to think that I kind of brought that feeling to my post when I was the commander.
Yeah.
And my post is great with working all the different parts
Sure.
meshing together
You
and
got to have
working
them all.
together.
You got to have them all
So
to successfully accomplish the overall mission. You got to have all those working parts.
exactly.
We encourage folks that might be watching, listening, have a motorcycle or not, to especially our veterans who are not yet involved with the American Legion or the American Legion Riders, to get the hell out of the house, get some fresh air. You got summer right in front of you. Maybe think about getting a motorcycle. Maybe not. Either way.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, but it just at least come out and check it out.
Right in Hardwick.
Yeah, and if you're a veteran and you're interested, you can attend a meeting to see what it's about.
Sure.
To see what we do.
Yeah.
Hardwick Post meets the third Thursday of the month at 7:00. Simple. Any interested veteran is welcome. So, regardless of where you live in Vermont, just about every town and city in Vermont has a Legion post.
That's right.
Hit them up. Ask them what they do. Ask them when their meetings are. Can you attend one? See what's going on.
Yeah.
Just check it out. If it's not your cup of tea, so be it.
Yeah.
But if it is, we'd always love to have you. We need the younger veterans to get involved.
Without a doubt.
And
grow.
It's every generation has said that the American Legion is dying, and every generation has been proven wrong so far. We're still here. We're still kicking.
100 years, right?
103 years.
103. That's right.
The Legion was founded in 1919.
Yeah.
And shortly after World War II, everybody's saying, the Legion's dying. Yeah, well, no, it didn't. After Korea, the Legion's dying. We didn't. Same after Vietnam. And now that Congress has opened up the eligibility dates.
Yes.
I
see that.
It's made a huge difference in the amount of people who are eligible to become Legion.
Word needs to get out, though.
Yeah. I mean, anyone who has served since the beginning of World War II right now is eligible. So there's no more, there were 3 years between Korea and Vietnam that if you served, you're not eligible.
Yep.
No, you are eligible because they finally accepted that the Cold War was just that.
We're losing these World War II vets at a fast pace, man. We just lost another one right here in our backyard.
Hardwick lost its last one just a few months ago, I believe it was.
World War II.
World War II. We no longer have any World War II veterans in our post. They're all gone. So now the oldest veterans that we have are the Korean vets. So and they're quickly aging.
Right up there in the 80s, most of them.
80s, 90s.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, Vietnam. You got Vietnam vets in their 70s, pushing 80.
Of course.
So it's necessary for the younger veterans to, it's their turn.
They got to step up.
Their turn.
They have to get involved.
Yep.
Yeah.
If they're needed, and we have maintained this organization pretty much specifically to turn it over to them when they step up. We're caretakers at this point. We're keeping it going so that they have an organization when they're ready.
Well said.
So,
very well said.
So we're here. We're ready for you.
I'm so glad that your wife Tammy contacted me and said, "JD, what the hell are you waiting for? You need to get Lou on." Wasn't so bad, was it? You did great, man. See, told you it's nothing.
Like I said, I wouldn't have been my first choice, but here we are.
You did a fine job.
Mark wants to know if
Thanks,
you
buddy.
mentioned Monday.
If I mentioned no, I didn't yet. Do we have time for that?
Yeah, of course we do.
one of our post, Memorial Day weekend is a busy day for us at our post.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the Spring Festival Parade.
Yep.
With the service at the Memorial Park.
Yep.
And on Monday, Memorial Day, we will once again be out in Hardwick. We will be meeting at the post at about 8 o'clock. 9 o'clock, we walk up to the Hardwick Elementary School,
Mm-hmm.
and we do a little parade. It's basically just the Legion. We parade down from the elementary school back up toward the post, and at the bridge just before the post on North Main Street, we do a ceremony there, and we drop a wreath in the river.
Okay.
We then go back up to the memorial, where we do a memorial service with the rifle salute and everything
Mm-hmm.
at the memorial, and then 4 cemeteries around Greensboro and Hardwick, where we do a memorial service at each cemetery
Wow.
with the rifle squad and taps and all that.
Thanks.
And we usually get back to the post around noon after that. So this is a committed core group of people who go out and do this every year. Back when I was working, I wasn't always able to attend the Memorial Day services
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't always have the day off. Now that I'm retired, it's a lot easier, but I am proud to say that I haven't missed a Memorial Day service in quite a few years. I reserve that this Monday now specifically for that. So anybody who wants to be there to show their support and to remember these heroes
Yeah.
who
Sure.
never made it home,
Yeah.
please feel free to join us. We would love to have you. The more the merrier. No, merry isn't quite the right word for this. It is a solemn occasion,
Oh yeah.
and we take it very seriously.
Sure.
It's part of what we do. But we would love to have people who feel the same way to come out and join us and participate in any part or all of what we're going to be doing on Monday. It's going to be a busy morning, and it's going to be an honor to do. So join us.
Thanks
Feel
for coming on today, Lou.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Let's do it again.
Sounds good.